Alien, Predator and Blade Runner are all classic films. They've all made their mark on pop culture and have all had sequels of varying quality. Personally, I'm a fan of all these franchises, especially Blade Runner. I have to say the original is one of my favourite films of all time. And as a franchise, I feel it has a 100% success rate, with both films being fantastic, really. I'm looking at you, Blade Runner 2099. Please don't let the side down. They're all different as well. Predator's more action-centric, following a different cast of human characters from film to film. Alien falls somewhere between action and slasher horror, and Blade Runner being more of a thematic neo-noir. But some say they're in the same universe, and which is hard to believe when it comes to like the style, the themes, the genre, but on the other hand, it kind of makes sense. Unlike Blade Runner, Alien and Predator were both quite commercially successful, and both were owned by 20th Century Fox. Both had interesting and unique alien villains. Seemed to be a match made in heaven. In Predator 2, we see the skull of a xenomorph among the trophies. Nothing more than an Easter egg, but it hinted to them encountering each other before. The Alien vs Predator films finally pitted them both against each other, doing crossovers before the Avengers made it cool. Some people aren't really big fans of these films, although I kind of like them. The first one at least. It delved into the history that the Predators had with the human race, a history that would make the producers of Ancient Aliens blush. In the film we see the Weyland Corporation being involved, but really the films sort of felt more like Predator films than they did Alien films. I felt like the xenomorphs could have been replaced by any scary alien. But one thing these films do is solidify the connection between these two franchises. Now what about Blade Runner? Like, we haven't had a Blade Runner versus Predator film or a Blade Runner versus Alien film, and we probably never will, so why assume they're in the same universe? After filming the original Alien, Ridley Scott was hired to direct Blade Runner, another sci-fi film with a darker tone and an emphasis on atmosphere and set design. Though he did say he didn't want to be directing Alien 2 and wanted to make a different tone with Blade Runner, he did imagine that this would have been what Earth would have looked like in the Alien universe.
People on Earth, so almost this world could easily be the city that supports the crew that go out alien. In other words, when the alien crew comes back in, they might go into this place and go into a bar just off the street near where Deckard lives. That's how I thought about that.
In Prometheus, which Ridley Scott also directed, there's a DVD extra with some text that is supposed to be written by Peter Weyland. That's how he ran his corporation, like a god on top of the pyramid overlooking a city of angels. Of course, he chose to replicate the power of creation in an unoriginal way. And look how that turned out for the poor bastard. Literally blew up in the old man's face. Although his idea to implant them with false memories was, well, amusing. While he doesn't use the words replicant or Tyrell, if you've seen Blade Runner, you get the implication. Alien, Blade Runner, Prometheus all deal with robots and androids that look like humans. Yes, they were done by different corporations like Tyrell, Wallace, Weyland, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that different corporations will be working in the same field and competing against each other. And I think that's an idea that's thematically relevant. Instead of government and nations, we have corporations that are the ones ruling over us and dictating how we live our lives. It's dystopian, but it works and it kind of rings true. And if we're going to link films by references and Easter eggs, why stop there? In the end of Blade Runner, Waibati goes on a monologue before dying. In the 1998 film The Soldier, it's revealed that Kurt Russell's character fought in the Battle of Tannhauser Gate, which is something that Roy mentioned in his monologue.
I watched C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate.
David Ware Peoples wrote the scripts for both Blade Runner and Soldier, and intended for Soldier to be a sidequel to Blade Runner. So while it's not official, people that have worked behind the scenes intended for them to be somewhat linked. So, you know what, yeah, add Soldier to the list as well. So Blade Runner links to Soldier, Alien links to Blade Runner, Predator links to Alien, but are there any links between Predator and Blade Runner? Not really. The film The Predator is set in 2018 and the original Blade Runner is set in 2019. I mean, it's only a year apart for the world to go from this to this. Oh, I don't know, to me it doesn't really work out. I don't see them as being set in the same universe, so I'd say no. Come to think of it, the only link between Blade Runner and Predator are the Alien films. And that's not the only inconsistency. In the first Alien vs Predator film, it's shown that the Predators have a history of using the xenomorphs to hunt, using humans to help breed them. However, in Alien Covenant, it's shown that David selectively bred the xenomorphs in order to create the version that we're familiar with, as opposed to the smoother shark-like ones we've seen in Covenant and Prometheus. And thus directly contradicting each other. I mean, they're can't both be right, can they? Like I said, the Alien vs Predator films feel more Predator than they do Aliens, so you could lump the Predator and the AVP films together and keep the Alien ones separate. But that defeats the idea of having a shared universe. That being said, name me a franchise that has existed for nearly 50 years that has no continuity issues. Like, it seems like a rite of passage sometimes. Blade Runner 2049 and Blackout 2022 both disagree on Sapper Morton's incept date, and they came out within months of each other. So what do I think? Personally, I don't think they have a shared universe. I think Alien has its own thing, Blade Runner has its own thing, and Predator also has its own thing. And I consider the Alien vs Predator films to be its own thing as well, its own little, like, what-if scenario, you know, something for a bit of fun. You know, like RoboCop versus the Terminator. I don't think everything needs to be interconnected. Like, it would be fun to watch a RoboCop versus Terminator film, but do we need it? Probably not. And in recent years, I think shared universes and having Easter eggs and interconnected stories have become a substitute for good storytelling. So let's just hope that Alien Romulus, Blade Runner 2099, and the Prey sequel will be good films. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and see you later.